Alright, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, that's right. Today we'll be diving into the 1966 classic, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Now, you might ask, reviewer, why are you covering this fossil of a special? And to answer that, I don't know. Looking back to my elementary school days, I swear every holiday, especially in earlier grades, we would be shown these specials, and whether or not I knew it then, but later on I'd be discussing them years later. It seems that with these Peanut specials, they all have a premise that is pretty quick to follow, but I think what makes them stand out is how different Peanuts was for its time. You see, a lot of kids had common problems, and sometimes we'd see how they'd go about these problems. Now, I'm not saying they were special for doing this, but it felt relatable to see these fictional kids facing the same issues that you or I might have been facing at one point or another. Now, obviously, I am aware that the Peanuts was not the last cartoon to ever discuss problems, but does that make it any less impressive for its time? No. I mean, you gotta consider just what was happening in the world during the 1960s, so to see these children discuss these topics, whether it's through a newspaper, comic, or an animated special, it was always interesting, and growing up, you and I probably never even realized it. With that being said, I'd like to look back at the classic, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, so I can look back and see what I missed when I was younger. Obviously, a lot has changed since then, so I think a rewatch would be a good way to show respect to the series and the legacy of the Peanuts. Now, a few things to note. This special is the third ever Peanut special. Only a Charlie Brown Christmas and Charlie Brown All-Stars were made prior. The reception from this special was well received and would actually set the bar for Halloween specials, and according to Wikipedia, this was the first major Halloween special to air on television. Along with this, in 2003, it would re-air and have a total of 13.2 million views, cementing its legacy as the most successful holiday special of the 2000s. Okay, so from what we can tell, this special has a great legacy, and with that being said, let's talk about this special and what made it so memorable, and how it changed the genre of animation forever. Special begins with Lucy and Linus going to a pumpkin patch and returning home without even paying for their freaking pumpkin. I always noticed this as a kid and it still bothers me. They didn't even pay. Anyway, we see them carve the pumpkin, and then we see Charlie Brown raking leaves with Snoopy. All of Charlie Brown's work is erased when Linus jumps into the pile of leaves. Then, for the first time in the series, Lucy offers to hold a football for Charlie Brown to kick. Now, according to a few sources, including the specials, comics, TV show, there are over 50 occurrences where Charlie Brown has been offered to kick the football and missed it. And unfortunately, it's only the beginning.
Brown. No. I'll hold it steady. No. Please. You just want me to come running up to kick that ball so you can pull it away and see me land flat on my back.
Oh, you two can't hear that word.
This time you can trust me. See? Here's a signed document testifying that I promised not to pull it away. It is signed. It's a signed document. I guess if you have a signed document in your possession, you can't go wrong. This year, I'm really gonna kick that football. Ah! Peculiar thing about this document, it was never notarized.
Anyway, we see Linus write a letter to the Great Pumpkin, who allegedly delivers presents to good-behaving children who believe in the Great Pumpkin spirit. So, like a budget Santa Claus in a way, if you want to go that route. And coincidentally, Linus writes in his letter,
You must get discouraged because more people believe in Santa Claus than in you. Well, let's face it, Santa Claus has had more publicity. But being number 2, perhaps you try harder.
Another thing to note is that Linus is being bullied for writing his letter just because he believes in the Great Pumpkin. Now listen, just because he has a belief doesn't mean others have to be rude to him and have his beliefs trashed and him being harassed. And, I mean, we see Lucy, Snoopy, Charlie Brown all act rude, and I just hate the disrespect. We see Linus put his letter in the mailbox in a cool manner while the famous Peanut score is overheard in the background. Then we see Charlie Brown appear out of nowhere and announces to Lucy he got an invite to Violet's Halloween party, and Lucy immediately begins to say it wasn't meant for him and says he was put onto the wrong list. The next clip is Linus walking into the pumpkin patch with a sign welcoming the Great Pumpkin. We then head back and see Sally creating a ghost costume, and then we see other kids and Lucy says this.
A person should always choose a costume which is in direct contrast to her own personality.
Honestly, something I just really like about this special is the tone of it. It's fun, yet still spooky, but more in a charming manner. And honestly, it reminds me of Halloween when I was younger. It wasn't about the coolest costume or the most candy, but it was about fun and going house to house in the costume you chose that you wanted to wear and have random strangers hand you candy. That is what Halloween was about. Spooky and fun costume, getting candy, having fun, and having a great night. It is shown quite well here, and I love it. I love the vibes, and even for the 60s, it shows that Halloween is a holiday with a simple premise, but it's so fun in the ways you can go about it that you can't help but to enjoy it. Now, while it's obviously dated a little with the costumes and everything, I still really like the ghost costumes. It's simple yet enjoyable, and honestly, they are pretty iconic. And we see Snoopy, who's dressed up as a pilot from World War I, or let me let Charlie Brown rephrase.
He's a World War I flying ace.
We then see this interesting sequence of the kids leaving and Snoopy preparing for, fight in a war? Anyway, we see Lucy and the gang head to Linus, who's at the pumpkin patch waiting for the Great Pumpkin. He tells everyone why he's there and no one stays with him, leaving Linus all alone, but he still smiles. However, after Sally has some romantic feelings for Linus, supposedly, she leaves Lucy and the gang, but this makes Linus happy, and Linus also explains that the Great Pumpkin heads out and chooses the most sincere pumpkin patch, and Linus says there isn't a pumpkin patch more sincere than the one he's in. We see the sky, and then we fade out just to return to Lucy, Charlie Brown, and the rest of the gang. We see Lucy get more candy after explaining her brother thinks the Great Pumpkin will come to the pumpkin patch. We then see a group share what they got in a pretty quotable line that I remember trending on TikTok for a brief period in time.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock.
We then see the group share their earnings 2 more times, and we see Charlie Brown keeps getting rocks, which I mean, man, this kid is just unlucky. Now, okay, let's take a moment away so I can talk about something I never really liked about the Peanuts. For the most part, Charlie Brown has been given poor treatment by many people, sometimes his friends, his family, sometimes adults. I mean, even Snoopy has been toxic to him at times, and honestly, it's a big issue I have with the series in general. Just seeing this constant abuse towards Charlie Brown, who is 8 years old, it's just messed up. Honestly, looking back at the Peanuts, it was pretty dark, man. I mean, look at this. Jeez, dude. But anyway, there sometimes seem to be this darker, bleak identity in the Peanuts, which is really weird considering how widely loved and regarded it is. Now, obviously, the Peanuts has its reasons to be iconic. It changed culture forever, not only in animations, but just what it set out to be. It was more than just young kids playing games. It had some dark themes, but those themes were important, and I think it's important that we learn about darker, more bleak topics so we can understand those in need. While dark at times, it's important, and I definitely gotta give my respect to Charles Schulz, the creator of the comics who sadly passed away in 2000. My condolences go to his family, and I'm glad his legacy is still being honored to this day. Now, I'm well aware not all 17,897 comics were all hits, but man, writing that many over the course of 50 years is very impressive. Anyway, back to the special, we see Snoopy prepare for takeoff on his doghouse. Now, I must say, I really like the animation here. You can really imagine if Snoopy was actually flying a plane, and it appears that he is heading up. We see his journey explained through the sounds and background colors. Just a hilarious scene, and we see Snoopy get back on the ground and begin heading towards another journey. We cut back to the gang who have finished trick-or-treating and now begin to head to the Halloween party. We see Lucy and the gang bully Linus again for his beliefs, and it's just getting annoying. I will say, I do thank Sally for sticking up for Linus, although she is starting to get skeptical. We head to the party and we see Charlie Brown become a pumpkin model, which, while it is kind of funny, it's still pretty rude. I mean, geez, why are these 8-year-olds so freaking rude? Anyway, though, we see Snoopy on his journey swimming across water and going through big fields of grass. We see him arrive at a seemingly abandoned location, but in reality it's just where the party's at. Maybe Snoopy himself should have just asked for an invite to the party, but what we get is a lot funnier in my opinion.
Do it. Yeah, Lucy, you should be good at this. You have the perfect mouth for it. Blech! My lips touch dog lips! Blech! Ugh! Poison dog lips! Blech! Ugh!
Woo! I love me some good old karma, and especially because Lucy has been irritating this entire special. We see Snoopy head over to Schroeder, who, while doing research for the special, I realized I never even knew his name, so, I apologize to Schroeder for never knowing who he was. Anyway, Snoopy begins dancing, and we see Snoopy dance for almost 40 freaking seconds. Snoopy then begins to cry, and then he returns to dancing, then back to crying, and it finally ends with Snoopy walking out of the house crying, then running home. We then cut back to Sally and Linus in the pumpkin patch, where a mysterious figure appears, and then builds up all of this anticipation.
There he is! There he is! It's the Great Pumpkin! He's rising up out of the pumpkin patch! What happened? Did I faint? What did he leave us? Did he leave us any toys? I was robbed!
After Linus wakes up, Sally regrets her decision of waiting for the Great Pumpkin, and she blames Linus. She leaves, and the rest of the gang appears out of nowhere, and Linus gets left all alone in the pumpkin patch, where he himself gives up hope.
If the Great Pumpkin comes, I'll still put in a good word for you. Good grief, I said if. I meant when he comes. I'm doomed. One little slip like that can cause the Great Pumpkin to pass you by. Oh, Great Pumpkin, where are you?
We then see Lucy waking up at 4 in the morning. She checks Linus's room, which is empty, so we see her head out of the house to get Linus, who's freezing in the pumpkin patch, as the Peanut score overlays in the background. We see Lucy and Linus return home as it fades out, and we see Linus head to sleep as the camera fades out again. We see Charlie Brown and Linus talking about their Halloween experience. Charlie Brown talking about how he got rocks for Halloween, and saying that what Linus did was quite stupid, and this enrages Linus as the camera begins to pan out, and Charlie Brown just stands there with his hand holding his head up. I'd like to give you a few fun facts about this special before I give you my final thoughts. First off, this special actually held the future of Peanuts holiday specials. Had it performed poorly, it likely would have been the last animated special for the Peanuts. Another fact, the voice actor of Sally Brown, Kathy Steinberg, was only 4 years old when recording her lines, and she was on the verge of losing a tooth, which could have caused a lisp, so she had to race to finish her lines. And guess when she lost the tooth?
You owe me restitution!
According to Charles Schultz, this was indeed his favorite special. In fact, he claimed it to be a masterpiece, which I'll share my opinions, right now as a matter of fact. This special is very interesting, and if I'm being honest, I still think it holds up quite well today. I mean, maybe kids don't believe in the Great Pumpkin, but they believe in Santa Claus, so, you know. Anyway though, this special is honestly pretty good, but I don't think it's as good as I remember. I think it had a weird filler with the Snoopy journey and wasn't as fun as I remember, but I still think it's good. First off, the music in this special is such a classic. I think it's definitely the standout of this episode alone, and honestly, it works really well here. Along with this, I really like seeing Linus's positivity through the entire special. The theme of the episode is about beliefs, and I think it works really well here. Like I said, I think this special is really good. It's timeless, like the title says, and I would recommend this to anyone. But honestly, I think it's more respectable than most Halloween specials we've seen. Plus, this special is a nostalgia trip, but it still holds up quite well. Even if you aren't a big fan of the Peanuts, I still recommend checking out this special. It's iconic, timeless, and honestly just a fun special. Overall, I'd give this special an 8 out of 10. Classic and fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been getting back into the grind of making videos again, and I'm glad you guys continue to support me. Please join the Discord down below if you'd like to talk to me or anyone involved with the channel. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know it wasn't Total Drama related, but I'd like to branch out. Like I said, I think it'd be much more fun to have quality and quantity, so with that being said, look out for more videos soon. One quick thank you to my thumbnail artist, linked to his channel down below, and another shout out to my friend Zen. Him and my thumbnail artist really helped with making this video, so shout out to both of them. Finally, I think the next video will maybe be a movie or Halloween special. If you'd like to share any ideas, join the Discord or send it in the comments down below. Anyway, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy. Peace.